Are you conscious? I don't mean are you awake, I mean are you really conscious? Are you in the moment? Do you know what is going on around you, and are you able to judge what is real and what is not? In this era of AI and unprecedented geopolitical instability, it is more important than ever to keep your wits sharp and to think critically about everything you see. From the emails in your inbox to the videos on streaming media and even your calendar. So let's have a look at reviving this most vital survival skill. Welcome to Cool Time Life. I'm Steve Prentice. I'm glad you're here. Each of our Cool Time Life episodes focuses on a topic dealing with people, productivity, technology, and work life, and each offers ideas and facts you need to know about to thrive in today's busy world. An index of our podcasts is available at cooltimelife.com. Now imagine yourself for a moment in the departure lounge of an airport. You are rushing to catch a connecting flight, half jogging to the gate and pulling your wheeled carry-on bag behind you. As you travel to your gate, you look up and you see a sign on the wall that catches your eye. It says, "Beware, there may be pickpockets in this area." Now, if you are like 95% of the traveling public, you will now make a dangerous mistake. You will instinctively reach for your wallet or your purse, or wherever it is that you carry your money and your valuable documents. That's a bad move. It's precisely what a good pickpocket wants you to do. This is the reaction they're looking for. Human beings are hardwired by nature to react, especially to dangerous or threatening situations. The threat of a pickpocket in the area immediately forces the unconscious passerby to touch the location where their money is being stored. It's an attempt to neutralize the threat by ensuring the money is still there. But notice I use the word unconscious here. The traveler is fully awake, but they are not fully conscious of their surroundings. By touching their purse or wallet in this act of self-reassurance, what the traveler is actually doing is telling the thief, "Hey, my money is here, okay?" and making the thief's work so much easier. In this situation, the unsuspecting traveler reacts as all living creatures do. Alerted to danger, instinct takes over. We react. But the pickpocket, on the other hand, is proacting. They are anticipating the turn of events, knowing the likely outcomes, and setting a trap. So the thief is actually writing the script of the next few minutes in the future. So when I describe this, you might think, great, I'll remember this next time I am in an airport, but what relevance does this have to the rest of my life? Well, it has every relevance. Because we spend most of our time in reaction mode. Look at the messages we get every day. Emails, text messages, and chat windows. When a new message arrives, we feel compelled to read it. It's a reaction based on an instinctive drive to resolve an unknown element in our world in order to make sure it is not a danger. That might sound overly dramatic, but it's a purely physiological fact. Regardless of what the message says, we feel we must look at it in order to turn it from an unknown to a known. Phishing emails are a modern version of pickpocketing, a crime of distraction. These messages that say, "Your bank account has been frozen," or "There's a missed delivery from Federal Express," or worse, "Mom, help me, I've been arrested and I'm using someone else's phone because they took mine away. Please help." These and many other messages are all designed to take advantage of your reactive nature. I have, by the way, a Cool Time Life episode and a YouTube video dedicated to this idea and how to put a gap between what you experience and what you do next. Go to Cool Time Life and search for GAP-IT, G-A-P-IT, or see the links in the show notes. For all of these messages and many more like it, people click on the link without fully thinking through what they are doing, giving away their information to scammers and possibly also allowing malware to be delivered. We now live in a world where anything can be faked. Deepfakes, for example, AI-generated replicants of a person's face or voice, mean that any message you receive can be just as distracting, misleading, and dangerous as phishing emails always have been, and maybe even more so. This means it is vital to question every message that arrives on your devices, to ask yourself, is this real? And how can I tell? Sometimes this means looking at the URL or email address of the sender. Most lazy criminals don't bother to hide this. They might copy the logo and text from a legitimate company to create their message, and they likely will use generative AI to make the copy read better, but they don't bother getting hold of a faked email address. So making a habit of always looking at the sender's email address and carefully hovering your mouse over the link that says click here without clicking will reveal where this message is really going to. Attachments in emails are a prime delivery vector for malware, and they might have file names that sound legitimate. Many organizations have malware scanners attached to their email systems, but individuals, including yourself, might use an application such as Microsoft Defender to watch out for these types of packages, but not everyone does. And sometimes people turn them off or forget to renew their subscriptions. Now, you would think that everyone already knows this stuff, but they don't. I do a lot of writing, consulting, speaking, and teaching in the cybersecurity field, and the sad fact is the leading cause of cyber attacks, from simple data theft to stealing money through paralyzing ransomware, it is most often a human who makes the mistake and allows the bad actors in. The mistake might be as quick and simple as an employee clicking on a link in a phishing email, as I have already described, or it might involve a simple con job where an individual calls a company's help desk pretending to be an employee and asks for a password reset. This happens, and succeeds, more often than you think. Or it might be a more sophisticated con job where a threat actor reaches out pretending to be, for example, a vendor with an innocuous letter of introduction like, "Hi, I'm Steve. I'm the new sales rep for the company that does your heating, ventilation, and air conditioning, HVAC. Just touching base to say hello." Just a nice email that does nothing other than start to build trust. This message might be followed up a week later by a second email to the effect of, "Can you tell me who I should talk to at accounts receivable? The person that I replaced left without showing me who it is," which will lead to additional communication intended always to obtain something vital out of you, such as a password, by building your trust. By the way, if this topic interests you, I do some work as a journalist for cybersecurity headlines, as well as being a researcher, host, and producer for the Italis Security Sessions podcast, both of which focus on different areas of cyber technology and cybercrime, and always with an eye to security. Links to these podcasts are included in the show notes. But back to the key concept of this podcast episode, being conscious. This is about proactivity. Proactivity can put you back in the driver's seat, back in control. Being proactive allows you to think critically about a situation, questioning its validity or relevance. Being proactive allows you to anticipate events and reactions and to conduct yourself in ways that will anticipate and even influence outcomes. And this is such a crucial part of life, of work, and of living in cool time. There is also a positive physiological response that happens when you and your body become conscious and establish a greater sense of control over your surroundings. There is a sense that danger has been averted and that you are on top of things. When this happens, nutrients, oxygen, and blood move back where they need to go in your brain and body, not simply to the brain, but also the digestive system. You feel good. Your body feels good. And when your body feels good, all of it works better. This might sound like common sense once again, but like so much common sense, it isn't all that common. We tend to lose full conscious awareness far too often. Think once again about what happens when you receive an email or text message in your inbox. As overly dramatic as this may sound, this unknown stimulus, like a new message waiting in your inbox, activates an age-old fight-or-flight reflex that has kept humanity alive for thousands of years. During a fight-or-flight response, you stop thinking clearly and instead focus on resolving the urgency. At the same time, much of those nutrients, oxygen, and other vital elements get shifted away to the anger center of the brain to handle this unexpected urgency. Doesn't mean you're going to get angry, but that's where it goes. Digestion tends to stop or slow to a crawl, and your vision goes into tunnel vision. Your sense of an ability to prioritize tasks or prioritize items totally freezes up. And all of these things happen as soon as you feel not in control, which can be most of the day for most of us. The act of proactivity, however, can flip all this around and become a positive asset to your productivity and ability, and generally your health. Not being conscious means being subject to the whims of others. Think about, for example, the act of saying no to somebody who's requesting something like a meeting with you. Nobody wants to say no, since the word sounds like an insult or at least a challenge to another person's dignity. It might even be an invitation to confrontation and bad feelings. But the word no can also be conceivably interpreted as the short form of the word negotiate. Most things in life can be negotiated. There are alternative approaches to taking care of a task. I am not available today. How about tomorrow at 2? A suitable alternative to now can be, in many cases, a sufficient negotiation. It might not work all the time, but there's a great opportunity to alter your day more in line with your priorities when you are in the moment and are able to think critically and proactively, rather than reacting to the pressure of that moment. If you are not in a mental place to negotiate, if you are stuck in fight or flight, you will find no creative capacity for coming up with an alternative solution. You are condemned to simply react and conform. The last point I want to make about this is that the ability to think clearly, proactively, and to stay conscious and in the moment comes from a balanced mind and body, one that is not overcome by stress. This means that in order to stay conscious to the point that you are less likely to fall for a scam phishing message, to be able to balance your time and commitments, and to frankly be able to communicate better and influence other people, you need to not be permanently in the grip of reaction and adrenaline. Your best mental self will come from the feeling of balance, and this is best done by taking at least some time in each day for yourself. Take a walk, for example. Whether you work at home or in a business, go outside. Take a walk and let your mind wander. Avoid checking for email and responding to them on your phone while you walk, and instead, just let your mind actually breathe and take in your surroundings. The creativity and dynamics that come from this are enormously powerful, and you can learn about them in another episode of Cool Time Life entitled, Your Brain is Like a Bath Sponge. Links to this episode and the companion LinkedIn article are also in the show notes. It is more important than ever to remember to remain conscious. In earlier decades, things took longer. It took longer to get things delivered, such as mail or products that you ordered. It took longer to travel to meetings, and it took longer to prepare information. The speed by which things happen today may seem convenient, but it comes at a price, and that price is that there is no time available to mull things over. Social media takes advantage of this by bombarding people with endless amounts of information, much of which is untrue and unfounded, but we have no time to think critically about it because more messages are waiting. The workplace is typically a zone of endless time demands, meetings, messages, and tasks, and every time we become able to do these things faster, it just ends up creating more tasks. That's what I call ergonomic inflation. So, ask yourself, are you really conscious? You owe it to yourself to be able to honestly say yes. And if you can't, please take a while and think about that. If you have a comment about this podcast or a suggestion for a topic you'd like me to discuss, please join the conversation on LinkedIn. Just look for Stephen Prentice or use the link in the show notes. Or feel free to drop me a line through the contact form at cooltimelife.com, where you will find a full listing of our evergreen Cool Time Life episodes. That means I update them to keep pace with the changes that are around us. If you feel you are getting value from this series, please do leave a review and tell just one more person about us, or mention us on social media. And if you want, you can support us on Patreon. Contributions from our listeners allow me and my team to spend more time researching, preparing, and updating our podcast series, as well as delivering the episodes more frequently. Members get all kinds of useful bonus content, including email Q&As with me, as well as resources that I have created and used to teach at universities and organizations around the world. If that feels fair to you, please visit patreon.com/cooltimelife. Links to the resources mentioned here can be found in the show notes or on this episode's dedicated page at cooltimelife.com/conscious. Until next time, stay safe, stay confident, and thanks for listening.